Every once in a while in music, a name just pops up, seemingly out of nowhere, and shoots straight to the top. Well, in the world of reggae, that name is Keznamdi. But as we're about to see, out of nowhere isn't even close to the real story. So picture this. It's February 2026, right after the Grammys, and the entire music world is buzzing with one simple question. A name that was, let's be honest, not on the mainstream radar was suddenly the only thing anyone was talking about. And the reason for all the chatter? Yeah, he had just won the Grammy for Best Reggae Album. We're talking beating out some of the heaviest hitters in the industry. The win was undeniable. It was legit. But the artist himself, for a lot of people, he was a complete mystery.
But then, this really cool thing started to happen. That first wave of confusion quickly turned into this deep, genuine respect. You'd see it all over social media. I never heard of the youth, but man, when I checked the project, it's well-deserved. People realized this so-called overnight success was actually years in the making. And to really understand the win, you have to understand the journey.
Keznamdi's art wasn't just born in one place. No, it was forged across continents. We're talking the Caribbean, Africa, and finally America. Every single step of that journey gave him a perspective that makes his music sound like nothing else.
At the very heart of everything he does is this philosophy he calls bloodline. Now, this isn't about money or things, it's about the legacy of wisdom, the struggles, the stories that get passed down through your family. And honestly, this one concept, it's the absolute key to unlocking his music.
And his path was, well, pretty remarkable. He was born in Jamaica to musician parents. Then at 5 years old, his family moves to Tanzania, East Africa. By 16, he's in Ethiopia, just soaking up all these different cultures. And then he finally lands in California. But get this, not for music, but on a soccer scholarship. Each one of those stops added another unique layer to his sound.
So about that newcomer label? We can just throw that right out. The facts tell a totally different story. The reality is a relentless decade-long grind that was happening far, far away from the industry spotlight.
Check this out. While working completely independently, Keznamdi was playing over 120 shows a year. Just think about that for a second. That's a show almost every 3 days, year after year. Just building his audience, one single fan at a time. And you know what? The people were listening. Before he ever got a Grammy nod, his music had already been streamed more than 20 million times. So let's be clear, this wasn't some new artist. He was an independent force with a global fan base that the mainstream just hadn't found yet.
I mean, let's just look at the timeline here. His debut EP hit #1 on the Billboard Reggae chart all the way back in 2013. In 2015, he had a huge crossover hit with Zeju. By 2017, he was headlining his own sold-out tour. And in 2019, he released his debut album, Bloodline. The work was always there, plain as day.
And as Keznamdi himself says, the hardest part of it all is the unseen and the unheard. Behind all those numbers and big milestones are years of struggle, of self-doubt, and the kind of sacrifice that really defines what a journey is all about. So you have to ask, why go through all that? Well, for Keznamdi, it comes down to a fundamental belief in what his art is for. It's not about being famous, it's about having a function.
He draws this really clear line in the sand. On one side, you have what he calls moment music. You know, the stuff, it's all gimmicks and trends, it's hot for an hour, and then it's gone. But on the other side, you have timeless records. And that's his whole mission, to make music with substance, the kind of stuff that actually holds you through the real challenges of life.
And this philosophy, he inherited it. His parents weren't just musicians. In his own words, they were real activists and real revolutionaries. So he sees his music as a continuation of that rebel music spirit. It's a tool for change, not just a career path.
And he does not take that legacy lightly. He sees too many people just co-opting the image, growing their dreadlocks just to sell a CD without any respect for the deep spiritual roots of the culture. For Keznamdi, this is not a game.
It all really boils down to his personal mission, his duty, and it's pretty simple. First, legacy isn't about work, it's about family. Second, music is a service you provide to the people. And third, be a living example of how pure, relentless hard work can make a dream come true. So, let's circle all the way back to that Grammy night. With all of this context, the win doesn't really seem like a surprise anymore, does it? It almost feels like an inevitability. It's time to redefine what that victory was really about.
In the end, the whole mystery of who is Keznamdi? Well, the answer isn't found in the award itself. The real answer is in the road that got him there. A truly global journey. A decade of grinding when no one was watching. And a purpose that was always crystal clear.
And for Keznamdi, that moment wasn't about the industry giving him a thumbs up. He talks about getting off stage and seeing his family on Zoom, just overcome with emotion. Tears, bro, he said. His parents were musicians too, and he knew in that moment they had taken the family dream and pushed it further than ever before. That was the real win.
You'd think a Grammy would be the finish line, right? Not for him. It was more like the starting gun. He's already planning a massive homecoming show for Jamaica, a tour in Africa to bridge that gap, and yup, he's already back in the studio working on a new album. For Keznamdi, the work just never stops. Ultimately, it all comes down to this one idea from the man himself. It is not enough to just make good music. You have to live the philosophy behind it. He asks, what works behind the music? For Keznamdi, digging into that question, that's the answer to everything.